Yeah, I guess it's a little weird. I graduated from high school the year before the peak in 1973. But
you're a 72 grad?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's something I've had this really strong impression ever since then, okay, in that I remember before getting out of high school, and perhaps it was just I was a kid, but I used to listen to politicians debate stuff, and I remember always being a Democrat. I remember thinking the Republicans are wrong, but they've got good arguments, and what they're saying is reasonable. They're just wrong, okay? I mean, people are sometimes wrong,
right,
and they were consistently wrong. But the farther I've gotten from sort of getting out of high school, the more and more when I look to that side, I say, no, it's not that they're wrong. They're just disconnected from reality. This stuff doesn't even make sense. It's not what I'm being taught in school. It's not what's in the economics books. It's not what's in the history books. It's just totally disconnected from reality. And so I guess the question I would ask here is, maybe you've told us what happened, okay, but why? Yeah. How has it been possible? And for goodness sakes, particularly here when we talk about the median income, the vast majority of the American people are being totally screwed by this process. And they're being told on a regular basis that they are being screwed. They're being given this voodoo economics and ridiculous economics, just insanity. Lafleur and everybody who came after him, people who were like discredited the moment they came out. Yet the sort of the, how can I say this, the nonsensical side of this debate has been given tremendous respect and tremendous following ever since it began. How in the world could this have happened? And how in the world do we fight what appears to be a completely irrational opposition?
Yeah, I think the, of course, I put most of the blame on my side, maybe your side, which is the being so ineffective in responding to this. And I would say the Democrats got deeply corrupted in this process. So when I listen to them, I just see rot rather than I see something a little bit more rational. But this stimulus, for example, I thought that was a preposterous response to America's real challenges. That's my side. What are we packaging within 4 weeks, a $900 billion mess, and calling that policy? And I said to President Obama that that is the kind of thing that gets you in trouble, because you prove that you're not a steward of the American people's income. It's just seems to be throwing money at problems. And I argued with my former colleague Larry Summers about this. I disagree strongly with Paul Krugman about this. I think the American people look at both sides and they don't understand either side. The Republicans do seem to most Americans to be absolutely antithetical to their values, and the American people have it pretty well pegged that the Republican Party is in the interests of the rich and the super rich, and that's what the opinion surveys show, and the people get it. But they don't find the Democrats giving any answers. And so the sad part of this is that it was Clinton who brought Robert Rubin into the White House. Why we had to have the chairman of Goldman Sachs come in as Treasury Secretary, lead deregulation, end Glass-Steagall, and then go be number 2 at Citigroup. On my side, I don't know. But that's inappropriate. And so the Democrats are deeply tarnished. Why you have a financial crisis and Obama brings in Summers, who had presided over this deregulation 10 years ago, brings in everybody from the investment banks, and every single senior person in the White House has come from an investment bank, basically. That's my side. So I don't think that there's a great alternative on offer right now. The Republicans, I agree with you, it's la-la land, except they know what they're doing. You know, they're playing on a lot of ignorance and propaganda, but this whole anti-climate change thing, for example, this is David Koch, this is the oil industry, this is Rupert Murdoch, this is sheer game. This isn't a science debate. This is pure corporate propaganda, period. And they're good at it, because they got Roger Ailes at Fox News, who was Nixon's image maker. You know, they know how to do this kind of propaganda. But our side doesn't pick up, my side. And so I have to say we got one far-right party and we've got one center-right party. And we've got the rest of America scratching their heads saying, we don't like Washington because nobody's representing us. And that, to my mind, is the biggest problem. That, you know, one side is really, as I say, and I think you feel it the same way, from a moral point of view, completely ununderstandable from the perspective of the most just modicum of decency, compassion, basic standards of values. But the other side's dishonest.
But if what you're saying is right, look, I spent most of my youth growing up overseas, in places like, you know, Ethiopia during revolutions, and,
yep.
and in Berlin when the Russians were. When the government becomes that disconnected from the people,
yep.
okay, as you
it
seem
is
to be
the right
suggesting,
and the duty of
okay,
the public to
sorry, there's only
overturn it.
There is really only one thing that inevitably happens, and that is not just people sitting in the park, but that is violence. How do we avoid that?
Well, you know, my belief is that we've had, I hope we do, I think that the path that we're on is incredibly dangerous. And I think the way we avoid it most likely is to come together around a set of practical proposals, a platform, and elect candidates that are going to carry that out. Our structural problem is that our politicians on both sides are on the take. And so they're not offering the median voter answer. They're happy in their duopoly on the right of keeping taxes low and slashing the rest of government. And that's kind of a safe, comfortable, incumbent duopoly that is not capturing the center. I think a good political entrepreneur who's clever could capture the center and capture power, or a political movement could do so. The trick is big money can't do that and won't do that. So my view structurally is that the solution is, how do you run and win power without campaign contributions? That, to my mind, is the real structural challenge. And my view is that it's possible these days. If everyone's got their Androids, if everyone's tweeting, if everyone is using YouTube and Facebook and every social network, what we ought to do is create a platform that is the free campaign platform, the whole social media platform. You have a message, we'll retweet it 1 million times in a day. We'll make sure that videos go viral. We'll use a Facebook network that's created of a nationwide friends of progressive ideas, and enable candidates to run without being on the take. So that's the revolution in campaign tactics that I think could be the breakthrough. And then if the platform is right, then I think the rest can follow. That's my strategy. What do you think? You ready?
The internet will set you free?
Yes. What do you think, guys? You're Google. All right.
If only,
can you guys make the right platform? Google.democracy.org. All right. We may tax you a little bit more in the meantime also.